Welcome back to the show, folks. This is Niall, your host of the Upper Tier podcast, and of course the Shankly Sessions as well, the Liverpool podcast within the Upper Tier. 2 days on from that absolute disaster of a game against Tottenham. A game that promised so much, a game that we built up so much, a game that should have been absolutely brilliant, a game that started out absolutely brilliant. Two teams really going at it. Liverpool breaking Tottenham's press, Tottenham coming forward and stuff like that. Two teams really up for it and stuff like that. But as we've seen in the past, what happens is we have referees now officiating the game in the Premier League that want to be superstars themselves. And because of their injection of themselves, it creates all sorts of problems. And we'll go down through some of it here. It's nothing that you haven't heard already. We've seen the PGMOL statement. We've seen the apology. We've seen Liverpool's issued statement now about, potentially going down further action and all that kind of stuff, depending on what comes out of it, all that kind of thing. Big shout out to Jack and Spider last night. We did a great show last night on Anfield Road TV. Check that out as well on Jack's channel there. Really good. We really got into the bones of it and stuff like that. And again, as so often is said, and I said it before, you look at the build up to this. We've had a week where refereeing has been called into the spotlight again in terms of the bribery stuff and all related to the allegations related to Barcelona and all. We've seen it before in the Italian league. But the one thing that I always say, and I said it last night on the show, and we'll see it again this week, when Champions League rolls around or Europa League rolls around, we don't get this sort of problems in the officiating. I couldn't even tell you who reffed the games last week in Europe, because they don't put themselves in the spotlight. They're supposed to be the custodians of the rules of the game. They're supposed to be the man on the pitch or the team that's there to control the game, to manage the game, to make sure that it's played in the spirit of the game and in the rules of the game. And then we hear a lot of stuff coming out. We had a story on Tuesday coming out about how Saudi Arabia wants to pinch referees from the Premier League. You're more than welcome to them. And then we had a lot of stories on TalkSport. We heard Simon Jordan talking about they have to get the best in class, but they have to pay big money for it and all that kind of stuff. Paying big money doesn't necessarily mean you get the best in class, and hasn't in the past. But it's a real problem at the moment, And if you look at the game, let's talk about the game first of all. The game was, shaping up to be a really good game until 26 minutes in, whenever the red card for Curtis happened. That kind of affected the game greatly. But as we've seen, even going down to 10 men, we've seen it in the Newcastle game. Liverpool find a way to modify their shape, modify their formation, and still be very competitive in the game. Not just hang on. We beat Newcastle at St James's with 10 men. So we can find a way, even when that obstacle is put in front of us. Now, going down to 9 men, that's a different story, and we hung on right till the death, and only for that OG by Matip. It would have been an unbelievable point earned with everything against us. And again, this is not, we can talk about this, we can talk about the apologies, we can talk about what happened, we can talk about, a lot of people coming out going, oh, Jota should have held his head and all for that second tackle and stuff like that. But the ref had lost control of the game totally. The real cool refs, the real big refs, the real successful refs, the Per Luigi Chiellinas of this world and all, they're the guys who walk over to Jota, grab him by the shoulder and say, listen, calm it down. The next one is going to be a second yellow and a red. These are guys who at the top end of the game were able to do that. Were able to stare the top players in the world down and go, I'm telling you now, don't force me to do it. These refs that we have now do not do that. They see themselves aloof of the game, aloof of the teams, all that kind of thing, that they're their own superstars within the greatest league in the world. The greatest league in the world now lacks serious credibility because of this. This is not a Liverpool thing. You can see the reaction from rivals. You can see how it's all gone down. You can see like the apology from Howard Webb. Since Howard Webb has come in, I think it was October last year, since he's come in, he has done nothing but sit there and write apology after apology after apology after apology. And we've seen it even this weekend. Look at this weekend. There's a call for the Crystal Palace goal and all that. There was 2 players offside blocking on Anna's view. Wasn't called upon. And even after Saturday evening's debacle, you look at yesterday, Forest versus Brentford. Matt Turner goes to clear a ball, totally misses the ball, and nearly castrates the Brentford player. Nearly absolutely was inches away from ending that guy's sex life, and no penalty. So nothing is learned here. This is problematic throughout the whole situation. I mean, are we really led to believe that 5 or 6 individuals involved in this, that none of them could have stopped this and went, hang on a minute, this is wrong? Like, are we truly led to believe, like, these guys go around protecting each other so much? It's absolutely ridiculous. But let's get on to rivals. Look, we all know this. Let's get on to rivals. Every single rival has come out. Most top teams have come out and go, we were absolutely robbed. Look at the reaction. Look at the reaction from the likes of Mark Goldbridge and all, one of the biggest content creators, the United Stand Mall. He has no allegiance at all to go out and bat for us at all in this situation, except his own club and clubs like theirs have been affected by this as well. And it needs to be resolved and it needs to be fixed. And the only way it's going to be fixed is if people take a stand. And if that stand has to be taken by us, then we will take that stand. We've been the leaders in the past. Everyone laughed when Jurgen Klopp 3 years ago spoke about player welfare. Now look, teams decimated by injuries. Decimated by injuries. When he spoke about player welfare, what was said? It's just Klopp mounting off again. So here we have to go again. So the reaction from rivals is really appreciated in terms of the support and stuff like that. But I think collectively as a group, everyone has to come together. Like what we had to do with the Super League and the threat of that as well. We have to come together. This cannot go on. It cannot go on. They cannot keep on getting it wrong like this and affecting. This is affecting people's livelihood. It's affecting people's careers. It's affecting the history and the potential of teams and what could happen and stuff like that. Let's suppose this result on Saturday night is the one that you look back on, and Spurs were to win the league by 2 points, or Liverpool were to miss out on the league by 2 points. You know, it's fundamentally wrong. It's fundamentally wrong, and it's crying out for change, and it has to happen. And only the fans and the clubs and everyone can push this through. I mean, if this isn't fixed, are we led to believe that we should just go into next weekend's round of fixtures, and just let this roll on, continue on, let it happen again? And next weekend we'll have another round of absolute bullshit from these guys, professionals, and just let it happen. My biggest concern on Saturday night was, one, I felt so proud of the team and how they responded and how they acted and how they held out for so long. I was so proud of Jurgen Klopp's reaction as well, because I really feared that. I thought he was going to go in and absolutely lose his mind and probably end up with a 5-game or a 10-game ban or something like that, but he didn't. You know, and like, are we supposed to be actually led to believe now that the team in the league that generally is in around the fair play winners team and stuff like that, who rarely gets reds and stuff like that, has now suddenly become the dirtiest team in the league? Are we led to believe that Mo Salah, one of the nicest human beings on the planet, is now suddenly a dirty player? Like, it's just, I just don't get it, you know what I mean? And then you look at so many different examples. Just this weekend alone, the different examples are crazy. But then you go back and you look at the Brentford Arsenal thing, you look at the City handball against Everton. So much stuff goes unnoticed, you know? Am I here to defend Curtis Jones? No, I'm not, because we've seen they give out reds. Are those reds proper? Should Gus Malagusto have been sent off? Should Casemiro have been sent off? Should Curtis Jones have been sent off? The sheer lack of knowledge of the actual game and how it plays out in the referee's circle is phenomenal. It's unbelievable that the people that we put in charge of the custodians of the game and the rules and the management on the pitch are the people who have never kicked a ball in their life, who don't understand the fundamental dynamics of it. We seen the ref go to the monitor the other night. He seen a still picture of Curtis Jones' foot and Basuna's ankle. No rewinding, no looking back to see what happened, no looking back to see how it all came about, that he came through X amount of crowd of players. And again, I'm not defending Curtis Jones. We've seen people being sent off, so it happens. Am I led to believe that Diogo Jota shouldn't get upset or fired up because he's been wrongly done by Udogie. Am I supposed to believe that a guy trips himself and he picks up a yellow card for that, and then gets a second yellow card and gets sent off? The ref was waiting for this. Instead of the ref doing his job and going over and saying to Diogo Jota, calm it down. It's not a ref's job. It's not in his interest to be carding people or sending people off. It's in his interest to be invisible in the game and ref the game the way it should be, and not to be getting involved in things and creating a narrative. That's why what we see in Europe, we see referees all the time. We never see them. Anyone tell me in the comments who reffed the European games 2 weeks ago? None of us know, because they don't get involved, because they don't want to be superstars, they don't want to be seen. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So then we roll on. What's the course of action here? What's going to happen? Are we just simply going to roll over now with an apology? Is that what we should accept? You know, I said on Jack's show last night, I believe every Liverpool fan that attended that game, whatever money they spent involved in going to that game, and fans would have travelled far and wide for that game. That was a big Premier League game. They should be refunded everything associated with it, and it should come out of the PGMOL. Absolutely disgraceful. Every official involved in that game should be brought before a board, an independent board, to explain their actions. A full release of the full audio related to that game and those situations should be fully released to the public for review. We should be asking questions why referees refereeing a high-level game on a Saturday evening in the Premier League were refereeing games in the UAE on a Thursday. How? How does that happen? Guys going out doing Nixers, moonlighting, and then we're led to believe that, are they creating this narrative that maybe the guys were tired? Tired? That offside was 63 centimetres, over half a metre. That's not tiredness. And the fact that 5, maybe 6 people were involved in this, and any of them could have communicated on it, and none of them saying it right to fix the wrong, well, that tells the that answers the question, doesn't it? That tells you the narrative that's involved in this. So that's what really has to happen. And then you look at the Premier League. The Premier League at the moment now, the biggest and best league in the world, the richest league in the world, now stands before the eyes of the world with little or no credibility. In a week where the credibility of refereeing was huge and in question. So how is the Premier League going to act on this now? Are the Premier League going to stand by the jobs for the boys? Or are the Premier League going to take action? VAR, the technology and all, needs a little bit of tweaking at times, but generally speaking works. We've seen it work in the World Cup. It worked perfectly. Decisions were made quickly. There was no messing about, and it was just done. Why is it in the Premier League? How did this decision the other day take less than 10 seconds when other decisions in the league are taking 2, 3, 4 minutes? It doesn't. You can't understand it. You can't explain it. There's so much wrong about this situation that the credibility now of the league is on the floor. I'm going to end this on a positive note. I couldn't be prouder for the boys. I couldn't have been prouder for the effort that Joe Mata put in. So unlucky with that OG. He must have felt awful about it. But I just hope now that this is used as a catalyst now for us to push on for the season now and put in those performances. And I can't wait for the boys to get back out on the pitch playing football, because they're absolutely, someone's going to get it. Someone's going to be on the end of a proper scoreline hiding. There's no doubt about it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. It's not kind of a match reaction, because how do you react to that? I didn't do it Saturday night because I wanted to calm down. I didn't feel any better Sunday. You'll see me on Jack's show. I don't even feel any better this morning on a Monday morning about this. This is absolutely disgusting. If this is one person involved, I can accept that one person can make a mistake. If I've got 3, 4 people in a VAR room and I've got 3 officials on the pitch and a 4th official standing at the side of the pitch, that I can't accept. Go back and look at JFK, the Kevin Costner movie. If more than one person is involved, you're looking at a coup d'etat. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. That's been my reaction. I'll be back tonight, 9 o'clock. Thursday, or 9 o'clock Monday mashup, back tonight. Mark is going to be on, our resident referee, and we're going to have a lot to talk about tonight outside of the results of the weekend. As always, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, and share the content. Cheers.